Do you see this plate, ma'am?
Yes, of course, I see it.
Good. This is the sort of merchandise I'm prepared to authorize.
But it doesn't have your image on it.
I do not have an image, my good lady, because I am no one. You understand? No one. Only Christ exists.
Choices in the past. So, in Honduras, Cardinal Gutierrez makes love to a young man and a woman. He gives a heartfelt farewell to his parishioners before he heads back to Rome to fulfill his new responsibilities. Now, if you're not aware, Cardinal Gutierrez is Lenny Belardo's best friend that he grew up in the orphanage. Esther gives birth to a baby boy whom was named after Pius, of course, and the Pope actually loves a child, of course. He has no children of his own. Lenny visits her at the hospital and presents her with Thomas Jefferson's Bible, pointedly noting it was never open. Nervously holding his namesake, Lenny tells Peter and tells the baby looks just like his mother and looks good like his mother. So it's kind of a weird situation. Like in this scene, it was really interesting because I felt like, he's kind of like showing her he likes her a little bit, but we'll get into that later. As he loses himself in a memory of his own parent, Lenny drops the infant on the bed, but Peter swiftly catches him. So the baby almost died when Pius went to go hold him. The Italian Prime Minister pays the Pope a visit to discuss his demands, and this guy is like macho. He pretty much has a very good intellect, and he does not like Lenny because he hasn't shown himself to the public, of course. Now, the Prime Minister laughs a lot of the things that Lenny says off. Pius is radical. A lot of people tell, him before he gets there, he's actually in this point, very much in charge. The Prime Minister wants to modernize Italy. Aware that many Italians still identify themselves as Catholic, the Pope counters with a threat to wield his own power by enforcing a mandate of non-expedite to stop them from voting in the next election. So if you're not aware, like a lot of people that are religious don't really have to vote. And so I actually did that with the Trump situation. I'm sorry. Like if people they know that's the only person they can vote for, no pun intended. But for me personally, I am very religious, and I just don't think that my vote counts so much in some situations. And his argument, pretty much settles the Prime Minister because he has a, agenda that he wants to modernize Italy. Now, Lenny tells Voiello of a new measure that he is working on, forbidding priests taking confession from absolving women who've had abortions. Voiello warns him of the potential backlash, but the Pope doesn't seem to care. He just has his own thing he thinks of. And then Lenny says, "I'm ready to wage war without end against you." So this is something that he says, and he's very arrogant, but very good looking, of course. Now, Lenny threatens a group of monks who ask for a resignation. He tells them their order will be living on the streets if they dare move against him. A police captain questions Voiello about Tonino Patola, now missing. So this is actually a priest that claimed that he was like a stigmata or whatever. The captain mentions Patola spoke a visit from the Pope and his cardinals, and Voiello laughs off the idea. Now informed that records show calls were made from Patola from Voiello's office and from the Pope's. Voiello has a tidy explanation for everything, but seems a little bit shaken and nervous. Now, a wealthy woman interrupts Dussoliers' dinner and invites him to a party at her estate. As the cardinal resumes his meal, a young man who was rejected for the priesthood tosses a wine on him, protesting he is not a homosexual and only wanted to serve God. "You murdered my dream." The young man bolts and Dussolier tracks him down, consoling him. Dussolier agrees the man could have been an excellent priest, but unfortunately, Lenny pretty much put out a mandate that said that anybody that had like any explicit issues going on that were written in the books would not be able to become a priest, because he's trying to stop this, all these men that want to touch little boys and just different people that are touching little girls and boys in the priesthood. So it's not just for men, it's for women. Now, Sister Mary tells a distraught Dussolier she also was an orphan, but Lenny cannot know about this because she won't interfere with his sorrow outside. The young man whom Dussolier consoled scales the roof of St. Peter's, and he pretty much commits suicide. And at the end of this episode, Voiello is asked, did we kill him? Did we kill, this boy? And then he says, "No, you did." So it's a very compelling episode. If you have not watched the HBO Young Pope, I've left a link below. This actual video has been sponsored by Amazon Prime. And I, if something in this case, if you have not checked out this show, you definitely want to, because the Game of Thrones